And we're here for the massive round 14 review from a massive week of AFL football. Big dog. There might have been only 6 games, but geez, it was some of the most cracker-dacker football I think I've seen so far this year. It was awesome. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. We're going to get into it very, very shortly. But everyone joining us live, listening on the podcast, joining us on the Facebook or the YouTube, thank you for joining us once again for the number one non-affiliated club podcast this side of the Westgate Bridge. Lace out, because it's how you want your footy. Big dog, how you feeling? Port Adelaide let you down, but just want to know how you're going. How you feeling? How's life?
How's life? How's all? Great. Wonderful, wonderful time of the year. The pretenders versus the reals. It was good. It was good. Sunday was good, Peps. I'm going to say I watched the game. I don't mind a bit of GWS in their banner action. I found it quite hilarious.
What they throw out this week? I missed it.
They throw it out that basically 10 years with Ken, you are Kenuff, basically. And I was like, that's quite clever.
It's not bad. They've taken over from the Bulldogs when we quite a number of years ago when the Doggies were doing their
very good. And Peps, I'm a typical Port Adelaide supporter, and I'm just going to say I am pretty apathetic about the result over the weekend.
Well, there's lots to get through because there's not just scoring results, but other results we need to talk about, which have just done my complete heading. Hey, listen, one other thing too, if you're joining us on the Facebook page, hey, if you want to send us some stars to, support the podcast, because we do this all off our own back. So if you want to, support the podcast, throw us a few stars, and your support will keep us running week after week. Lots of questions that you want to ask, throw them in the chat. I can't wait to hear them. Hey, Big Dog, I want to get straight into this ladder because it might have only been a week, but a lot of things.
Show us the big ladder. Go to the AFL ladder. No, show us the big ladder, Peps.
What's the big ladder?
The feedback was the people want to see the AFL ladder with the extended form and a little bit more of a story to tell. Do you have that one up and running?
No, this is the one I produce every week. If you want to get the other one up, you can bring that one up, but I'm bringing this one up. All right, I'm going to do this one. Rightio. Sydney Swans. Look, there's still 3 games clear and a percentage of 149. Like, good luck anybody chasing them down right now. They are just amazing. Carlton, Collingwood,
and a game to play as well for them.
Still a game to play. How good are they? Carlton, Collingwood, and Essendon. Haven't said that in a while. 36, 36, and 34 points, respectively. Collingwood. Geez, I tell you what. Talk about a comeback for the ages. Shouldn't have got it. North were ripped off. You can say whatever you want, Jdog. They were ripped off. GWS, another good win. Geelong didn't do anything. Still think they're suspect. Port Adelaide, how you're still on the 8 is beyond me. Fremantle, less said about them, the better. Western Bulldogs, the Sons of the Scray. They're coming back. Gold Coast Suns had the week off. Melbourne, thank goodness they had the week off. It was a great stress-free football. That's the way that I like it. Hawthorn, talk about a run. They are on a tear at the moment. Can you believe they're only a game out of the 8 right now, Jdog?
Half a game.
Brisbane Lions, they're a full game out, but they're starting to make a bit of a run. St Kilda, they're woeful. Adelaide, forget about them. Wet toast, awful. Richmond, well, they may not have got the win on the board, but they had 90+ thousand there to see Dusty. That's where they're going to get the kudos. And North Melbourne, for 3 quarters of football, they were arguably the best performance of the weekend and then completely fell in a hole. I don't know whether it was a managed result or a organised result, but there were a couple of things that went off-field that left me a little bit, can't believe they did that, but also some umpiring things that made me think, I can't believe they did that. So,
all right.
Thoughts, feelings, Jdog on the ladder? Anything you want to share, or are you putting the big boy up soon?
I can put the big boy up. I can do that. Want to do that?
Yep, you can put the big boy up.
It tells a story. It tells a story.
Okay. I will tell you a story about what I got out of this weekend's games because I had a chance to watch a good portion of footy this weekend. It was good. Just didn't get to see the your game, unfortunately. But just looking at another round of football, sometimes it's quality, not quantity. And I think the games on the weekend, look, the Lions, they had a great win over St Kilda, but St Kilda kicking over 100 points. I can't believe it's not butter. You would have said the Titanic had a better chance of sinking twice than St Kilda kicking over 100 points away. So they did leave it late, but they played some pretty good football. And to have two teams kicking over 100 points, magnificent. Western Bulldogs, look, there is no way that they should have won that game by 67 points. They haven't had a bye for the entire year. They probably had 2 or 3 of their big guns still out. The week before, they looked really, really tired. Fremantle, fresh off the bye and beating Melbourne. So that's, you could almost say 2 byes. And they've come out on by 67. They keep going on about Josh Dacos and Isaac Heaney and Warner. The Bont is the best. He is, bar none, the best player in the league. And that goal that he kicked when he had, I think, 3 players, a trainer, 2 from the cheer squad, and I even think Longmuir was in there as well too, and he still was able to snap it. The guy is a freak, and if there's anyone who deserves a Brownlow more than anyone, it's him.
Player of the decade.
He's
2013 is his first season, and he has been a decade consistently good.
Yeah, decade of dominance, I'd go there, Jdog. Richmond and the Hawks. The Hawks just keep doing what they do. And we bagged out Sam Mitchell at the start of the year. And I'm wrong. I put my hand up and I'm wrong. They are amazing. I love what they're doing. And there's other clubs that should be doing what they're doing in terms of their rebuild, etc. They're doing it on the fly. You know, your clubs that just don't buy in. Your club has, I don't think, buying into Kenny anymore. My club's not buying in at the moment. I think there's other clubs who just don't buy into the coach or whatever's going on. They've got the Jonestown on the Hawks at the moment. Don't worry about calling it Hawthorn. Call it Jonestown. That's what it should be, because there's a cult going down there at the Hawks and everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid. But it was great to see Dusty have his 300th game. First goal. It was an absolute corker. I reckon, should just retire at the end of the year. Just hang up the boots, mate. After he kicked, they didn't look much at all. Adelaide Crows and Sydney. Adelaide were looking mighty fine for a major portion. And then you get to the second quarter, and someone who I'm going to get into very, very shortly just dominated. And this club just dominated after quarter time. And they are so far in front of anybody else right now. And we're talking about Sydney. Whether they play at home or away, they just belt people. And what still amazes me is that their loss for the season so far has been Richmond. That does not make any sense whatsoever. And then you go to the North Melbourne Collingwood game. What were they, 54 points up? Even Maya rang me. My daughter rang me from Richmond and said, "Dad, have you seen the scores? What the hell is going on?" I said, "Yeah." And then to see what happened at the end of that game, and we're going to have a bit of a chat about that too, because I think the reasoning coming out of the AFL about the last 30 seconds of the game is a complete load of tripe. And I'd love to hear everybody's opinion on it too on the chat, or leave us a message through the Facebook page. And GWS, I don't know what we can say, but they just got the win against the Port Adelaide side that just continues to disappoint. I think our two teams are probably the most disappointing teams running around, and you're still in the 8, which is just absolutely surprising. Suns, D's, Carlton, Cats, Essendon, and the Weagles had the week off. So there you go. Rightio. Yes.
I have on the ladder here. I've culled to where I think other teams can make it.
Okay.
I'm going down to 13th. I'm going down to Brisbane Lions are still in the chase for a top 8 spot.
Yeah, you know the thing about Brisbane is, have a look at their percentage.
Yeah.
Their percentage and the Western Bulldogs percentage is better than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other teams in the 8.
Mm-hmm.
So they just have to win games and they're going to make it and potentially top 4. A lot of those clubs, Carlton all the way down outside of GWS, all the way down to Fremantle, their percentage is so tight and their games are so tight. So they have to start winning and winning by good margins. Western Bulldogs and Brisbane can continue to win, and they've got so much of a percentage jump over everybody else. It is brilliant.
Yeah, it's a cracking couple of months to go, I reckon. I've never seen a top 8 as tight as it is, other than Sydney being extraordinarily 40 percentage points ahead of the next team. I've never seen a top 13 really, or top 12 look as tight as it has.
Yep. Yes. So a bit of stuff coming in off the chat already. Buzz is 1 week at a time. Pep, you love bagging just like the media. Look, Buzz, you can't be honest with me and look at the performance of St Kilda right now and be happy with their going. You're in the friend zone. You're not going anywhere higher. You're not going anywhere lower. You're just sitting around that outside of the 8th, not doing anything. And I love the way that you played on the weekend. Great attacking football. It shows that you can kick a score. But that's 1 week. And I'm just commenting on what I see here. And we aren't the Weagles. Yes, you did flog. Duke Lee's on. Duke has told us that, yes, you did flog my overrated team. Yeah, I can honestly say that was a great weekend of football. But I can also say that no Harley, no West Coast, as the results are proved as well, too. So, once again, I can only go by what I see. And it's good to see a competitive West Coast over there because, it's good to have a bit of competition over there in the West as well. So, keep dropping them in. We love it. We've won 5, lost 3 by a kick. It's a tough business. I think you're harsh. No, I'm not harsh. It's football's a wins and losses business, Buzz. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. But I'll be happy for you guys to get some better results. I reckon Jdog would too as well.
Wouldn't mind to see St Kilda. Just something different.
Yeah, I think, yeah, true.
All right.
Right.
Peps.
Yes.
Anything from the weekend that caught your eye that you wanted to touch on? Maybe someone who kicked some goals? Maybe?
Mate, I'll tell you what, Jdog. Can I break this down into 2 parts? All right.
Oh, okay.
I'm breaking this down into 2 parts because I've actually done some research. I've actually put some research into this. So strap yourself in because I have got some stuff. Look, on the weekend, Sydney went to Adelaide and for a quarter of football did not look like they were going to be in this one whatsoever. And then in the second quarter, it's almost like they went, all right, we've had our bad start. We're just going to get straight into this. And then this happened. Bags. We love it when they're kicking. Bags. It's got to be 6 or more. Can I just say, Joel Amati had a bag of 9 goals won, 10 kicks, Jdog. 10 kicks. He went 4, and 1. And that one in the last quarter, I think it was about the 15-minute mark of the quarter. So there was so much more time for them to go. They just went on a tearaway rampage. The most he's ever kicked in a game is 4. He's gone to 9. He's sitting equal 5th in the Coleman at the moment. But if I said Joel Amati's going to kick 9 2 days before, you'd go, that is what this team is about at the moment. And I went and did some research on the Swans at the moment because I just had to figure out what are they doing with the ball goals-wise that is just so much more dominant than the rest of the league. Because, like I said, they're, 30% clear over most teams and 3 games clear at the top of the ladder. Mm-hmm. And it's where they're kicking their goals, it's how they're kicking their goals, but what they're doing to kick them as well, which just is dazzling me. So I'm just going to go through some statistics at the moment, and they're just amazing. So at the moment, they are converting at 91% for goals wider than the goal posts, so other point posts, all right? So you've got the wide is anything wider than the point posts out is wide. Anything goal post or point post in is the center, all right? So they're converting at the moment at 91%. The only team that's kicking better outside of that wide margin is Carlton. And where are they sitting? Second, all right? So they're converting beautifully from the sides there, all right? They're medium range goal kicking, like 30 to 50 meters. They're getting around about 9.5 goals a game from 30 to 50 meters out in the center. Mm-hmm. Like if you talk about, standing in the hole in the good old days, that is heaven. 30 to 50 meters out, straight in front. They're kicking 9.2 to 9.5 goals a game from that location. Like that is the highest in the league, bar none. All right. They're also, what else have they got here? Sorry, I've got where's my flip the page. They are also getting 62 points a game from turnovers. Okay. But their forward half turnovers is 53. It's something like 8 points or 9 points more than any other team running around at the moment. They're second for 1%ers at 48.81% per game. And the only team beating them is Geelong from that perspective. They also score around about 39 points from their defensive half as well. They are just so on song. And the way that I read this is that they've got the rebounding capabilities coming, Melican, and we've got the Lizard as well too, coming off halfback, that they can rebound beautifully from there.
Mm-hmm.
But their midfielders and wingers also push up to that halfway mark to be able to stop the ball in the forward zone. So anything's coming out, they've got that wall. Mm-hmm. So instead of generating it down back, they were like, we'll bring it forward and then we'll be able to rebound that out. Okay. What also makes me just sit back and go, they are amazing at what they do is they are able to just get the ball down fast, to be able to have that many scoring shots per game from that 30 to 50 meter range straight in front. That forward 50 has to be open. So the forwards are working for each other and getting out of everybody's space. They're doing the simple things well, which David Salt has written up on there. They get the ball into their forward 50 really, really quick. And then if it does turn over, they've created that wall for the rebound to come out. It is just they're working so much faster than everybody else. And the number of goals that Amadi got out the back within that, like I said, 0 to 30 meter range on the weekend, I don't think he kicked a goal probably more than 40 meters on the weekend. That is just how much room and space that he had. And if it's not him, it's Logan McDonald who kicks it. If it's not him, it's McLean another week. They just, as they would say in the classics, they all get their lick of the ice cream. It is just, they are so far better organized, structured than any other team running around at the moment. And for anybody to beat them, you can't just stop their backs. You can't just stop their forwards, and you can't just stop their mids. You're going to stop the entire collection of 18 players and the ones that come off the bench because they're just like sprockets in an engine. One breaks down, they just pull it out, put the new one in, they play their role, and they just hum along. They are defensively amazing, but their offensive way of working and what they do in front of goal is absolutely brilliant. And
is the premiership over? Is it over, Peps?
It's never over. We've seen teams get to the last dance, and unfortunately, they didn't get the score for the judges. We could go back to 2008, Geelong and Hawthorn. That's happened there before. You could almost go. Well, we've even had prelims where teams have fallen over. Richmond in 2018, they got coxed. Do you remember that?
I do remember the coxing.
They got Carlton. You still have to win it. But when you've got so many things in line, I think it puts the team who's coming into play, they have to not just win it, but they have to stop whoever they're going against. And at the moment, I just don't know what they've done. And they haven't seduced me, Buzz. I just look by what I see. And the stats tell the story as well, too. Now, we've still got 10 rounds minimum to get through. Let's just see what happens then. But if they've seduced me, I'm happy to fall in love because I have fallen in love with what they're doing right now.
It is reminiscent to me at the moment, Peps, of from what I'm seeing, is the 2000 Essendon team. Very similar to that. I'm just seeing a team that is just so far ahead that it's really hard to say they won't win it from here. A clear head and shoulders.
Team was different. They were brutal. Like, I don't think the Swans are brutal, but they're just so clean across the board. But it's also like, okay, let's say Carlton. Carlton have Curnow and they've got Mackay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then who's their third big goal kicker after that?
Well, they've got the spread. You got Williams down there. It's been a great move this year.
Yeah.
Dylan Williams has been a great move.
Yeah. Okay. You have a look at Sydney and how many players have kicked over 20 goals.
Oh, yeah, the midfield. Yep.
Their midfield, like for a midfielder to kick 20 goals in a season, that's pretty cherry ripe. They've got 3 that have already done it a round and a half ago. You got McDonald still down there. You got McLean down there. You've got Amadi, who we spoke about, the Amadi party. I want to celebrate how good they are going at the moment. That's what I like to see. Now, we've got questions coming in, and I've loved it. They've shown all their cards. Are Sydney any good at the MCG? Well, I think the Swans are good anywhere they play. And they've shown all their cards. Well, you know what? If they've shown all their cards, awesome. Because I don't know at the moment who's got a hand that can beat it, whether it's now or it's a number of weeks. Who do you stop? Who do you go to? Who do you sacrifice? Do you try and stop there? Do you try and stop Blakey off halfback? Do you try to drop? Do you go after Heaney? Do you go after Warner? Do you go after Goulden on the wings? And Jordan's going to go to their best player and tag. He's been do you go after Grundy? Like, there's headaches all around.
Well, as David King said, the race really is now for second and third for the teams. You're only playing Sydney in the finals.
Yes, I'd say there's 3 spots left in the top 4. All right, now remember, anything can happen grand final day. They haven't got there yet, but they are putting themselves in a position that it's almost going to be impossible for any team to beat them up in Sydney.
And I don't think there's another Sydney. We won't see Sydney and Carlton for the rest of the season.
That's good.
Shane?
No, it's not.
I wouldn't mind to see them just one last test with a genuine twin setup.
No.
You want to save that to the finals?
Save it for the finals, mate. Save it for the finals. Hey, some great comments coming through at the moment. David Salt, Sheedy always says, get to the end of the season with the least amount of injuries. That, you know what? They've had a really good run of injuries. But let's be honest, they've been pretty good from that perspective.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were just awesome on the weekend.
Where do you put Collingwood then? Does Collingwood continue to win with not a lot on the plate? Or not a lot on the paddock?
And I'll give them you don't stop anyone, you get the ball first, and then you finish your work. True, but you've got to get your hands on the pill to do something with it. And they don't turn it over all that much. And I can get the stat for that in a moment too. Buzz, I love everything that's coming through. Absolutely love it. I want to tack over to Collingwood at the moment. That game was absolutely sensational. If you told me that the North Melbourne Collingwood game at round 14 would be one of the spectacles of the year, I'd say you've been on the wacky tobacco. But geez, Collingwood, you can just never count them out. Even at 54 points down, you can never count them out. I will ask you a question though, Jdog. Do you reckon that Al Clarkson sort of went, we don't want to get too far in front here. We saw it with not getting Harley Reid last year. Couldn't do it 2 years in a row.
I don't think at this point, could you? To knock over Collingwood? If you took a West, I think that's. I mean, I haven't seen this year's draft in terms of who's the breakouts this year on the under 18s comp. No, not this far. You'd do it for the supporters, wouldn't you?
Well, I don't know.
Because you're saying,
well, I don't know. So they had their tag. I think it was Will Phillips was playing on Dacos for the first half of football and kept him to nothing, virtually zero.
Yeah,
and they took him off.
Well, Dakes went into the forward line, though.
Sense, huh?
Dakes went to the forward line.
It didn't make a difference. He got tagged virtually out of the game, did nothing.
That was an interesting call.
I don't know. It's just like, well, hold on. If something's working, you don't go and change it for the sake of changing it to give them a rest or doesn't make any sense.
Well, I knew they were in trouble because Josh Jenkins on SEN coverage said that that North supporters, you're clear from here, 31 points ahead in the last quarter. I knew you were in trouble when Josh Jenkins declares that sort of stuff. I just don't listen to Josh Jenkins, to be honest. No, just big sauce.
Big
sauce? No,
just
not a fan.
Anyone who really gets stuck into the trots, not a big fan. Right, but we know there was a contentious major decision that happened at the end of the game. Was the 50 meters, was it not paid? The play on that wasn't paid. It's Bailey Scott at the end of the game. It was the kick out. We know it all. If you haven't seen it, just go onto the AFL website, look at the last 2 minutes. Does not make any sense. For those who haven't seen it, 25 words or less. Ball comes out. Was a 20-meter kick. Bailey Scott takes the mark. He looks to play on because he hasn't heard anything from the umpire to say it was a mark. You got two Collingwood players.
Side, bottom,
and directly over the mark.
Yeah. And
they haven't called it. Now, throughout the entire year, you could put your toenail over the line when you're standing and they will call it. Or you're in the infringe zone, they will call it. And once again, the AFL umpires have put the whistle away and they have not delivered when they should have. Now, I did not see there was a touched goal that there was an issue. And apparently there was a goal that was paid as touched. But no one actually, they didn't even review it to see if it was or it wasn't, which was really doesn't make any sense. I can't comment on that because I didn't see that one. But what I will say is that the AFL then come out, Jdog, and come out with a bit of a reasoning such as this. Now, this is coming from Laura Kane, all right, chairhead of the AFL, CEO of operations, etc. This was the description that she gave. Now, tell me if this makes any sense. To those on the chats, to those listening to this on the podcast, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. This is what she said. Now, the first paragraph makes my head explode. It could be play on immediately, or it could be stand, which would indicate that the mark had been paid. You lost already? I'll keep going.
Okay.
Neither of these two calls were made in the immediate moment after the free kick has been blown. And Bailey Scott takes 4 steps or so inbound and looks to play on. So the correct call should have been play on initially. Well, that has caused confusion for the players in the immediate vicinity, the Collingwood players, that there was a delay whistle to message and that communication was the error, I guess you could call it.
Hasn't the adage been play to the whistle?
Well, all I know is that is an absolute shocker of a response. I know you play to the whistle, but they didn't even blow the fucking whistle in the first place. And that was the thing that's frustrated a lot of people. He says, how can you? And when you look at it, it is so clear-cut a mark. I don't know what the umpire was thinking. And the fact that the player played on because he didn't hear anything, the other ones just went, it just does.
Was there a whistle? Was there a whistle?
No whistle. This is the thing. Now, we've been doing this for 7 years now. And I don't, like every year I love to have a whinge about the umpires. And every show, every week, every minute of the day. But, Jdog, I don't think we've had this much contentious decision-making ever in a season where I think every week we've really said they've got another one wrong, another one wrong, another one wrong. Even things like throwing the ball, things like tackles not being dropped. Are people being umpired differently? Like, there's so many questions being raised now that we've got 4 umpires. Has that made it harder? Who's in control? No one's in control.
It may sound really, really flippant on me, but play the whistle.
But Jdog, there was no whistle. That's
the right call.
That's not the right call because the umpire was asleep at the wheel. They've done this a couple of weeks in a row now where they've been asleep at the wheel in the last 30 seconds to a minute of the game. And for whatever reason, they put the whistle away.
I've got no issue with this one. I've got no issue. It's a whistle. If the umpire misses the whistle, the players aren't at fault. Therefore, the players can't be penalised.
I understand the playing to the whistle, but when they don't blow it for something that's so obvious, that is where we're like, what is going on?
I get the frustration. I do get the frustration. I just think this
really
this is exactly what we wanted.
No, we don't. We don't want this.
We wanted whistles to be blown fast. Otherwise, you'll have players constantly standing off the ball because it's like, oh, we're going to just assume it's the rule is this, and we're
No.
going to play it.
No. Don't get me wrong. I want them to blow the whistle, but blow it and pay what's supposed to be paid and not go into your shell with 30 seconds to go.
No, I don't mind it.
That's what's happening.
I agree.
Did you?
I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. I saw it. It's a clear mark. It's a clear mark.
There you go.
You cannot penalise the players, though. Therefore, the call is there's no call. That's the right call. The call is there is no call. You can't penalise the players.
The Kaiser Soze. There is no Kaiser. Kaiser Soze is, verbal Kent. It's just
it's shit. But at the same time, North also shouldn't let a 54-point lead go.
That's a different story altogether. But the fact they even got that far in front, I'm scared because they play Melbourne this week. Imagine what I'll be like next. Jdog, you said that about Melbourne last week. Oh, well, you'll be fine against Collingwood. I think, you know what surprises me about Collingwood? They just don't have a bad player.
No.
Oh, they got 15 players out at the moment. Pulled the number out of my head. And anyone they just drop straight in and go, boop, and they can play. They just do something right down there. I don't know what it is, but they just do something right. I'm jealous as all. You know what I mean?
I'm 100% that this is a mindset,
mate.
It's a mindset that they've got.
If it is a mindset, bottle it and sell it because I want some. How do we get that mindset?
How does a team win so many? It's up to 17 games in the last 2 seasons now of these less than 10-point wins or something. It's something mental.
But it's not the wins that gets me.
It's the way they win. It's the way they do it.
The fact that they're that low on so many players, and they bring in these people I have got no idea who they are, and they can play. They're not taking 2, 3, 4 weeks to get into the swing of things. They can just do it.
Mm.
That's where I get jealous, mate. That's where I go, how? How do they do it? I know McRae's a gun, but it's not just him. It's, you've got Green Shoots Bolton down there. You've got Lepich down there. They've just got Graham Wright's down there. They've just got so many things going right for them. I'm jealous. And if I was a Collingwood supporter, I'd be getting a little bit, okay, we had a bad start to the season. Things are starting to pick up, which I shot you down with many, many times at the start of the year. Many times. Yeah.
It's a simple game when you watch Collingwood play. They make it look simple.
Simply frustrating, I'll tell you that.
Mm. Anything else to grab your attention from the round?
The Lions, I don't think the Lions are the same Lions as last year. But at the moment, they're just winning.
All they have to do.
That's all they have to do. I'm just fascinated, though, about Hawthorn. I think that's the biggest thing to come out of it is when you've got people that, and I know Hawthorn supporters who say he is the worst. Mitchell has got no idea. Watson's got no idea. We're crap, we're this, we're that. And now it's like, Peps, what about the Hawks? How good are the Hawks? It's like, yeah, they're going all right. They just got McRae. Mitchell is the new McRae. If you can have such a thing. He's just got them drinking whatever, and they're just serving up great footy. They are an exciting team to watch.
Chol continuing his third club and just another 4 goals on the weekend. Never found his pace at Gold Coast, but in the Hawthorn system, it just works. It just works.
Yeah, but he was competing against Ben King. He had to compete against. Yeah. He had Casbolt. He had to compete against. So he wasn't the main man. He's the main man in that forward line. But Mitch Lewis hasn't been there due to injury. He is just playing great. He's just playing. You know what? He's doing his role, Jdog.
And he clunks them.
This is all we need for you to do. And he clunks them too.
I know. I'm jealous. I'm envious of these young developing clubs who have gone through a full cycle of a really heavy sweep. And we've got middling clubs like yours and ours, Peps, that just roll around in the dirt and we win a game, one in every three, or one loss, one win. We'll end up somewhere between 7 and 10, and it's the same shit year in, year out.
Yep. Mate, but it's just what they're doing with the ball at the moment. Like if you go against everything what they're doing, they're like 16.8 points better from a ratings perspective than their like the opposition that they've played so far. Their coaches' votes, they're dominating. They're getting, they're running the ball. They're over 400 meters gained than their opponents at the moment. They're making less clangers, less turnovers than their opposition. So they're actually being quite clean with the ball as well. Their uncontested possessions, they're okay with. They're intercepting the ball. They're in a really good spot from an interceptions perspective as well too. But it's thing like they're getting more inside 50s. They're getting, they're on par with the amount of marks that they're getting inside 50 or the number of intercepts that they get. They get more marks on the lead. So they're making opportunities for themselves. They've been having around about 7 shots more than their opposition as well per game. So they're getting their hands on the ball. They're just making opportunities out of it as well too. And they just I love watching them, mate.
Yeah, I agree.
If Watson could get his form back to normal, that'd be magnificent. But then you got Warple in the middle, you've got Day in the middle, you've got Newcomb. Like they've just got Weddle. Like I could keep going, mate. Lloyd Meek has come out of complete nowhere. Like they're just playing as a team, Jdog. It's a sum of all parts. But names just aren't as big as the ones that are playing in the black and white or the white and red.
I do agree. Peps tonight.
Yep.
Couple of things. I don't know if you saw the Port Adelaide GWS game. I think I don't know where you were, but Zach Butters has copped a 1 week suspension for a little old punchy punch. We've changed the rules halfway through the season for this one, haven't we?
Oh no! Because if it was in the vicinity of no, J-Dog. Because if it's in the vicinity of the ball, that's okay. You can slappity punchy. It's okay. But when you're all that far down the back and you can't even get clear vision of it, it's poo. Like that's not a week, mate. They'll challenge that. Don't worry about it. Hey, you got more issues. Charlie Dixon got 3 weeks in the sample.
That's all right. He's done anyway. It's fine.
He's cooked. But this is the interesting one. Did you see our little friend Braden Maynard's tackle on the weekend?
No. Which one are you referring to?
It was a sling tackle that he did on the weekend.
He was dynamic. He was very dynamic.
Oh, he's always dynamic. Sling tackle, really, like it was a slinging action, but because their head didn't hit the ground, doesn't get a thing. So massively dangerous. And it was
not
a
free kick.
I think he did get a free kick.
Okay.
It was one of those really whippy, snappy action ones. Like if he'd hit the ground and it was outside the boundary, he would have been in the next week. Like he would have got 3 weeks minimum for it. And that's where it's like, hold on, you're not even canceling out the action. So, and that's what they're saying. One guy gets a week for, I was like, I don't know if he punched him in the chest or pushed him in or slapped him, whatever. Gets a week for something that's soft, yet a massive whipping action. But because the guy's head didn't hit the ground, nothing happens. Now, good on him for occurring. But it's the consistency, once again, that we're all sitting back going, where is it?
Yeah. Can we talk about something interesting, Peps, that came after our show last week?
Yeah, go for it.
Petrarca has shared his injury and what has been happening since it all went down last. God, was it now? Sunday?
No, Monday. So it's been a week.
Oh, yeah, sorry, long weekend. Yeah, sorry. Open surgery without anesthetic at 2 and gets out at 2 a.m. in the morning. Goes in. It's actually way more serious than what was first believed, Peps. So there was, and it's all come out since, I think it was come out on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that he got back on the field. Players were going, mate, you don't look good. You don't look good. And he's running around there, and you could tell from when he got put back on the ground, he wasn't looking good. After I think he got subbed out at 3/4 time.
Half-time. Half-time.
Half-time.
It should have even been before that, to be honest. But no one knew at that particular moment. They just thought it might
went to the hospital after the game.
Yep.
And it was far more serious than first than what was first thought. So Peps, and please fill me with the details here. Ruptured spleen.
Grade 5 tear in the spleen. Yep.
A serious blood loss.
Yeah, there was almost there was a bit of a small puncture to the lung.
Yep. Anything else I've missed there?
The 4 cracked ribs. He had 2 cracked ribs, bleeding around the lungs, and his blood levels were dropping. That was the main concern. So
which is why they couldn't put him under.
Is why they couldn't put him under. They gave him the gas, but the gas only got him so far. And so he's sitting there, and they're doing all this stuff with his eyes open.
Yep.
He said it was like a car accident, like a car crash. He's doubting himself at the moment, which is totally understandable. He's watching footy and just can't. He won't play again this year.
Absolutely won't play this year.
Cannot play this year. Well, they said that it's going to be 7 weeks before he can run or go to the gym, and 3 months before he can do any contact. Season's over, mate.
Peps, my team doesn't have a great track record of this sort of shit. I'm going to be honest. Yep. We've put players on that have been concussed and have gone back on, and we've had to do please explains to AFLs, and it looks bad for your club. It looks unprofessional. It just is a shitty thing. As a Melbourne supporter, Peps, and knowing all of this, knowing that he is your Winksy.
He's if Gordy's not, if Gordy isn't bloody the might and power, he's Winks. All right.
So he is your by far he is your best horse in the stable.
Yep.
To put a player back out there with risk, and I know we've spoken about like doctors never try and do it with harm.
Yep.
How do you feel hearing this, that your club would do something like this?
I don't think anybody at that time knew how bad things were. I reckon they thought it might have been just some cracked ribs. Get a shot. That's it. But then it got worse. And yep, that's where it went to the shit. Now, here's the thing that a few people probably don't realize is that the AFL have an independent doctor on the boundary as well, who sort of oversees everything that goes on. So the decision went through, obviously, the Melbourne doctors, but there was an overseeing doctor who saw what was going on and didn't question it at the time either. I think just what's happened is that they thought he was okay. He's gone out there, and in that time frame from when it was, look, you probably shouldn't have gone out in the first place, but mate, it's King's birthday. There's a bucket load of people in there. You've got the freeze M&D for a guy who is just fighting his way through beating the beast. He's like, pride, I'm not going down because of this. Went back out. He just looked rotten. And it goes to show that how players have changed when you've got opposition going, mate, you don't look right. You got to get off. So hindsight 2020, yeah, I'm upset by what happened for him. But I've got to have some trust in the doctors that said everything's okay.
Off the back of the
it's a hard one. Off
the back of all the concussion stuff.
Yep.
Just say a Maynard or someone like that just went straight through him again. At the next contest, he's back out there. Now we know how absolutely serious this actually was. And there was something worse to come out. There is, heaven forbid, something worse was to come out of it. Where does that leave the club? Where does that leave the AFL?
In what perspective?
Well, do we need more on the sake of where does the duty of care lie then? Does the AFL not provide enough equipment to get this stuff done faster?
Well, see, this is the problem, Jdog. How many of these incidents happen a year?
I would say
at this severity.
Little to none, but there are medical facilities that you can get to pretty quick.
Yep. So I look at it along the lines, and I know there's been some conversations about this through the media over the last X amount of days. I don't want to repeat what they've said, but you're not going to get an MRI at every stadium.
Absolutely not.
No.
We can't get cameras working correctly.
No, was it touched or not touched? Hey, let's see his ribs. But I think they've said that they, a portable X-ray machine, less than $5,000.
Yeah.
I think that's in the budget. Having that at the ground to be able to go whack it on and go, well, something's not right there. I think that's a viable option. I think that's definitely a viable option that could be at every stadium.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we have those machines literally on every corner of a building. Those heart machines.
Yeah. But I would say though that I think the AFL at times they lead the way in so many facets, and then there's things that you just look like, mate, why are you being a tight ass for?
Yeah.
Like if you want to be seen as the best sport in the world, the most professional in the country, there should be things in place like that.
Do you think clubs should wear the cost though, not the AFL? So, for example, your player comes off, they're complaining of a sore ankle.
Yep.
You whip on this $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 machine and go, shit, mate, it's actually a break. There's a crack there.
Yep.
You could potentially save that player months of injury.
Yeah.
By diagnosing quickly.
True. I would be confident to say that I would I'd just get the AFL to buy it.
Yeah.
Just get the AFL to buy it and go, you know what? It's going to cost us $100,000. Big freaking whoop. $100,000. Put them in all the big stadiums. You've got 2 in Melbourne, 2 in Sydney, 2 in Queensland, 1 in Perth, 1 in Adelaide. What's that? 7 stadiums. 1 in Geelong, 8. And there's 2 other ones that you could probably float around, whether it's down at Ballarat, whether it's the Canberra one. You might need 12. Regardless of that, if they're $120,000, you're right. It could save somebody making a stupid decision by going out, because they do head checks for the concussion side of things. They do the tests, they check them, they don't put them out. But we've got no tests. There's the technology to work these tests, but they don't invest in it. Once again,
now I've seen the umpires that they sit there and they watch after a tackle or a mark or something. They watch to see if a player's head hit the ground, and then it's an instant off. They won't come and check that player.
Not. This is where it's bullshit as well. Jeremy Cameron a couple of weeks ago got smacked in the head. He was seeing stars. The doctor runs out and Jez is like, "No, I'm fine. And the doctor's like, "Oh, okay." I ask him a couple of questions. "Oh, you're okay, buddy." And I go off. Like, you can't. Hey, that's not an assessment for a concussion.
I will say it's more consistent. The umpires, the doctors are watching the TV monitor back and forth to see if a player's hit the head.
Exactly.
That's an outlier.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I like that. But, mate, you can't bag a club for doing one thing when there's something so blatantly obvious where they should have pulled him off. But they didn't, because of what? Oh, it was in the last quarter, was it, Jdog? Oh, it was getting very tight at that particular moment in time, Jdog. You know what I mean? It's the same thing time and time again where it should have been, no, you're off.
Well, that's where I sort of thought with this whole Melbourne situation.
Yep.
Like, was there pressure from the box to say, get him back on? Oh, he's just saying it's a bit of a sore ribs, get him back on.
Well, once again, I'm only going in hindsight. I think that they thought there was just maybe some cracked ribs. I think they didn't know exactly what was going on. They couldn't see what was going on. They're only going by previous history and what's happened in these type of situations before. Plus, you got a player who's going, jab me up. I want to get back out there.
Well, that's the thing, Peps. I know you've had crack ribs before. Crack ribs feels like you can't breathe.
Yeah, crack ribs are not nice.
It feels like you literally
I didn't have a jab because we didn't have jabs in local footy.
But you know straight away. You're like, actually in big pain here.
That's no good to sleep. So you know, but you're wanting to play through it. Mate, footballers have got egos. Footballers don't want to be seen as soft. I don't care what anyone says. You got the mind you, there were at times I was a little bit soft. I won't lie. But,
Dim Sims are calling.
Dim Sims were calling. The Jimmy Cans are on ice. But yeah, I can't say anything bad about them. Am I disappointed at the results? Certainly. Hindsight, could they have done anything different? I don't know. I've got to trust them. It's like me going to my normal doctor. I go to the doctor, they check me out, and 2 weeks later, I find out that I got a growth somewhere that they didn't pick up. Well, I did trust you that you were doing the right thing at that particular time. Did they just miss it, or were they being negligent? Got to show some trust.
It's going to be interesting, and I'm bringing this up now only because it's going to be an interesting conversation in years to come from now, where they're going to be saying doctors can overrule almost everyone. Which they're a quasi at the moment. You can quasi do that, but like this is like doctors. No player wants to go back on. Absolutely not going back on.
Yeah, I reckon you're right, mate. I reckon. Yep, I reckon there's
It'll come to that time.
Yeah,
doctor will go, mate. You hit your head on the ground. You're off. I don't care what coach says. I don't care what you say. You're off. Done.
Well, do you know what also is going to go off?
What's that, Peps?
1 week at a time, round 15 action that's kicking off this week, Jdog. Now, we thought there was only 6 games last weekend, 6 games coming into this weekend. But my goodness, can I just go through some of the games? You know, we normally go, oh, there's only 1 or 2 good ones. Oh, waiting to hear this. Friday night, Carlton Geelong at the G.
Ripping.
Saturday, Port versus the Lions, Adelaide Oval. Your last chance, I reckon.
Genuinely is. We lose this, we are in huge trouble.
You want to go down to NG Stadium on Saturday afternoon, Giants versus Sydney.
What's NG? Oh, that's the energy company.
Yeah. That's their stadium.
Yeah, I hate that. Yeah.
We've got 3 for 3. Melbourne versus North, 7:30 p.m.
This is the game to be watching, everyone.
That'll be an interesting one just to sort of see. And I won't even be able to watch it, unfortunately, because I'll be at Seinfeld.
What?
Sunday, I'm not going to see Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, okay.
Me and the lovely lady are off to go and see her. It's date night.
Beautiful.
And then Sunday, Essendon versus the Eagles at Marvel. Which Eagles will turn up?
Mm-hmm. Reed's back, isn't he? Reed's back.
And then Freo versus the Gold Coast Suns at Optus Stadium.
That's a good one.
Well, I'm sitting back going, that is a full complement of games. Adelaide, Collingwood, Western Bulldogs, Hawks, St Kilda, Richmond have the week off. Like that is, sorry, Dale, I'll do all the chores, but these are the times. I'm sorry, I've got footy to watch. It's going to be better. It is going to be better. Besides that, next week we will be doing our halfway review of where teams are sitting. Are they in the friend zone? Should they be packing for Vegas? Are they hauled? You ready for finals? We're going to go through every team. We're going to look at where they were originally, where they are now, because there has definitely been some movement from people that we thought were packing for Vegas that might want to put the luggage away. And there's other teams that we thought, hey, you're in the friend zone. No, you're in economy because you're going on your end of season trip a little bit earlier than we actually thought you were. So tune in. That is going to be a corker. Remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell if you love everything that what we do. And I'm setting every viewer here a challenge. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube page, get on, look for Lace Out AFL podcast and subscribe. We want to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the season. We can't do it without your help as well, too. So get on there. We've got my tips every single week. You got Jdog's gorgeous head that you can look at every single moment. Plenty of other good stuff as well, too. So it's going to be an absolute belter, I will say, my friend. But Anything else that you want to quickly whip over before we wrap up this bad boy?
No, it's a short one tonight because there was a lack of games. But yeah, see you next week.
It was quality over quantity. And just like the people online today, it was all quality. So if everybody tuned in online, thank you very much. I'm Peps. He's Jdog, and there's your round 14 review for a massive week of footy. Before we wrap this one up, I have to ask the great man one simple question. And that's Jamie the Jdog Wallace. How do you want your hair care?
I want my hair care lace out.
And Garnier Fructus. Have a great week. Hope your team wins. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.
See you, listeners. Love you.
I love them too. They're just so cuddly, so beautiful.